Is Keir Starmer's name on anything? Because if it is, that's the end of Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
People want to ban things because it's a simple answer to a very complicated situation. You can't ban something that everybody uses every single day. No one believes us anyway, apart from the ones who will always believe us.
Yeah.
So all I've got to do is say what they want me to say.
First of all, he started saying that young men in their bedrooms are now the new terror threat. That's the first thing he said. Then he started saying that this is to do with access to knives. Him and Yvette Cooper started saying that this is to do with acts. He implied that Islamist ideology was not the motivation behind it. And then also started to basically lie about the reason he didn't disclose more details. And actually said, yes, I knew the details as they were emerging. It would have not have been right to disclose those details. Now, all this is bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah. We've had barristers on TV talking about this, going, he could have said this, he could have said that, he could have reported this, because it's been reported in every other case like this up to now.
Yes.
This case was different for him because of the so-called rioting. That was his priority, was to stop the outrage, because he was afraid that the outrage would bring him down and bring his government down. And it was all about quelling the violence and quelling the outrage. So he was quite willing not to tell people information. What I'm waiting for now is some investigatory journalists to look into what's gone on. And I'm sure some of them are looking into it now. The thing I want to know, and I want someone to discover, is his name on any paperwork connected to the Rudiker Banner family in relation to immigration, asylum status, anything like that? Is Keir Starmer's name on anything? Because if it is, that's the end of Keir Starmer.
Yeah, well, we keep saying that's the end of Keir Starmer, but he's still clinging on, isn't he?
Yes, but if his name's on something and he helped bring the family here, or he helped them to get asylum status, or he helped them get citizenship.
But we have now a Prime Minister who's basically lying directly on camera to the population, haven't we? He's saying now, I couldn't reveal these details because it would prejudice the case. Yet we know, and as you say, barristers have been on TV saying it. When a man drove a van into a mosque in 2017, it was declared a terrorist incident within 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Joe Cox, Keith Palmer, the Manchester bombing, Westminster, all were immediately declared as terrorist incidents. So this isn't kind of a fantasy. This isn't subjective. He's lying. He's lying to the public. It
is subjective. Anything you can deem could influence a court case. So it's technically not a lie. The best word to use is, I think, is excuses. These are just excuses of what excuses of why he did what he did. They're excuses because his priority wasn't the public, wasn't anything else apart from quelling the outrage on the streets. That was his priority.
So we now see the government. We see Yvette Cooper, Keir Starmer blaming Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who runs Amazon, for the Southport killer.
So the white guy who's doing life in jail now, who drove a van to a mosque and killed someone outside a mosque, are we blaming Ford for that?
Yes, the availability of cars.
Are we banning Avis because he rented it? But people want to ban things because it's a simple answer to a very complicated situation.
But does anybody believe it, Nick? This is we're reaching the point now, aren't we?
But his voters, he's only looking at 20%.
I don't think his voters believe that, do they? They
want to believe it. I've read some of the discussions online of people going, it's the right thing to do. Amazon needs to be dragged into court. It's so easy buying these things off Amazon. And it's like...
Well, yeah, but those people must be thick.
Yeah, no. And ideologues and will twist their own reality to fit what they want it to fit. We've been trying to ban knives for a decade or two, And we've got more knife crime today than we've ever had. And we keep clamping down on the availability of knives, how you can buy knives, the age of knives, carrying knives. We're clamping down all the time, and knife crime is getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Because you can't ban something that's in every kitchen drawer in the country.
Yeah.
You can't ban something that everybody uses every single day. So it's a stupid way of doing it.
I mean, I'm now watching this stuff in disbelief, because when we started having these conversations, there were subtleties to it. There is no subtlety to this now, is there? You have a government who is blaming a second generation immigrant who has clearly got psychological problems, who has gone to school and been fed a diet through his school days of critical race theory about how white people are shit, basically, who's talked about white genocide, who's basically looked at Al-Qaeda documentation and other documentation, and then has gone out and killed 3 little white girls and injured all those other ones. And the government are saying it's Amazon's fault.
Because that's the only person they can blame. They can't, they aren't looking anything else. They can't look at race. Black people in general, especially black men, are, I think is it 3-4 times more likely to have severe mental health issues, schizophrenia, things like that. Immigrants are more likely to be criminals. Black people are more likely to use violence and be violent. All these things are facts. Black people are more likely to carry knives and guns. Muslims are more likely to blow people up. So these are things we could be looking at. How do we tackle that part of the problem? But every single one of those problems, no government in the last couple of decades have wanted to tackle at all. So what did they do? Right, people have been stabbed. If we take away knives, those people can't be stabbed. That's the end of the problem. So for simple people in the country who like simplicity, who want simple answers, that makes perfect sense. Remove the knives, people can't be stabbed to death. But that still leaves a violent nutcase on the streets who then will get a hedge cutter, who then will get a car, who then will get... I could kill you with most things in this room if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So it isn't the item that's the problem. It's the fact we have a dangerous nutcase. That's the problem. What do we do about that?
That's the point I'm making. This is gaslighting at its finest, isn't it? You know, the Yvette Cooper, it's a disgrace that Rudy Cabana could buy a knife on Amazon. I mean, bloody hell. That's just, to say that is just insanity. And she also said the tech giants risk a second Southport because of what they... So they're shifting the blame for this.
Yeah.
And they're actually conveniently shifting it to Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who happen to be standing behind Trump in the inauguration. And it's kind of... I cannot genuinely believe, and maybe our gentle viewers can confirm this, I cannot genuinely believe there is anybody that isn't seeing this for what it is, a complete and utter gaslighting.
There's loads of people who can't see it. Loads of people, because they don't want to see it, because they still have hope and respect for our governments, and they think our governments would never do that. Knives are a problem, and the government's trying to tackle knives, but they can't. We just need to ban knives. It's a simple answer for a simpleton who doesn't understand the complexities of the issue. Yeah. We see it all the time. We see the government doing a knee-jerk reaction to something that has no effect, but usually makes things worse.
I think for me, it's the fact that the subtlety has gone now. There's no subtlety. They are blatantly lying, gaslighting us to our faces now, and don't care. Yeah, they're happy to do it, aren't they?
That's the only difference with this government compared to the last 30 years. This government doesn't spend any time trying to sound believable.
Yeah.
They've come to the conclusion no one believes us anyway, apart from the ones who will always believe us.
Yeah.
So all I've got to do is say what they want me to say.
Yeah.
I don't even have to sound convincing. I have
Yeah.
to spend no time on this.
Yeah.
Because 8% of people won't believe me anyway.
Yeah.
Even if I'm the best actor in the world, they won't
Yeah.
believe me.
So I'll just now make shit up.
Just make shit up, because 20% will believe it and the 80% will think I'm lying anyway. I might as well just lie.
Yeah.